back on the scene, crispy and clean. You can try, but don't why, because you can't intervene. This is Milton Daily Homes, and that is for my hip-hop fans. So 32 listings today, and that's it. Let's talk about them. Now, this one on Costigan is an assignment sale. So essentially what you're doing is you're selling your interest in a sheet of paper that you've agreed to with the builder, and the builder has to agree for you to assign it. But you're saying, here's my sheet of paper, and eventually this is going to turn into a condo once it's registered. And there's this nasty period a lot of people don't know about with condos, where you have something called an occupancy period. So it's like they give you the keys to the unit, but you don't own it yet. The ownership hasn't been transferred, and you need to pay the anticipated condo fees, the anticipated property taxes, and the builder's interest on the loan, which is the killer. So essentially, you're renting your own unit until ownership switches over to you. And ownership can take quite a long time. On average, I would say in Milton, in Toronto, totally different story. We've seen 1.5 years. In Milton, the average is probably 3 to 6 months for that to happen between when most people get their keys. And what they do is they start occupying by floors. So if you're in the first or second floor like this one, it's going to happen sooner. So they're holding back on offers on this one. Assignments can work a lot of different ways. Remember, there's closing costs that have to be paid by somebody. So is that going to be this seller? Is it going to be the new buyer? They're definitely complicated. It's almost like sale of business agreements. It's not an easy sort of, here's the offer, wham, bam, let's get it done. There's a little bit more involved than that. So holding back on offers, but it's just something that you got to have a good lawyer. You got to have someone who's experienced with assignments to make this happen properly. So there's some condos on the list for $399, which is awesome. 2-bedroom, right? There's a 1+, there's a 2-bedroom. This one on Fowles, we're also to the point where freehold, no condo fees, for less than $500 is a reality. We haven't seen that in a very, very long time. This is a cherry wood, so it's like 1051 square feet. And it's okay, like doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it. There's some laminate floors here. And you've got your balcony plus 2 bedrooms upstairs and a full washroom. That's it. These are great condo alternatives because remember, if you have a condo and let's say your fees are $500 a month, that equals about $100,000 in mortgage money, right? So if you had $100,000 mortgage, your payments are a little less than $500. So this one at $499 freehold is very similar to the payments that you would have for a $399 condo with $500 a month. And it's just cash flow. It's money out of your pocket. So whether or not you're paying your mortgage or paying your condo fees, here's the other thing, is that probably in the first few years, 75 or 80% of your mortgage payment is interest, but yet people reject condo fees. Oh, well, that's just a waste of money. Well, guess what? So is interest payments. So I just think it's about out-of-pocket money. It's about the living space that you get. Yeah, so it's great. This is there's a small front yard. That's all you've got to maintain. You've got a garage, plus it looks like you've got 2 driveway spaces. It's a good option. 865 Gaisley Circle. This is, or Gasley. I haven't to this day found someone who knows how to say it. Croftside model. This home sold for $700,000. So big difference in pricing besides this. And the people who bought this one, nothing wrong, right? Like it's just, that was the market then. This is the market now. This one's been hanging around for a bit. You have 2-car parking in the driveway, which is nice. People ask me, is that legal? Is that allowed? It's kind of a complaint-driven thing. If nobody gives you a hard time, aka your neighbors, you're usually fine. If there's a complaint made, there may be some remedies that the town asks for where you may have to fix it. Okay, so being a good neighbor is important. If it looks like absolute hell, then I could see somebody having a problem with it. If it's not so bad, then, live and learn, move on, let people enjoy their home. Good price for this one here at 610. Very, very nice price. I like the fact it has a new roof. Freshly painted, I'm not too concerned about, but a roof is something that you get to enjoy for the next probably 15 years. Same model here on Cooper. The all brick elevation tends to wear a bit better than, this is all wood right here, so you got to stay right on top of it. You get some dry rot here where the snow sits and where the rain sits. Got carpets inside. We get a nice finished basement. The kitchen looks like it's been maintained well. Overall, this one looks like it's well kept. I don't think you can. It's very hard to fake pride of ownership. And I look at this home and I think, boy, they took care of this home. There's a gate here facing back, which means normally there's an easement in the back couple of feet of the home, and your neighbor has access to their backyard through yours, which is a Mattamy thing. And it's not a bad thing, because what happens is some of the other homes that create laneways from the garage to the backyard, you're losing about 4 feet of living space. And when you talk about a home that's on a 23 or 24 foot lot, completely changes your floor plan. So Mattamy said, you know what? We're going to extend the floor plans out full width of the lot. And the sacrifice people are going to make is that someone may travel through your backyard. They have the right to, but most people don't like it. So the accessor or the accessee, neither one of them is a big fan. So to bring that right around to what I'm talking about, I think what happened here was that they maybe moved the fence in a little bit, so your yard's slightly smaller, but there's now a bit of a laneway between the two fences that somebody could access their backyard without having to walk in yours. So I think that's what's going on. It's hard to tell from the pictures, but you can see backyard's well kept. And this one probably would have sold with the first digit being a 7 just a few months ago. Nice walking distance. There's a splash pad just down the street. You could walk to probably 3 or 4 different parks in this area within probably 5 minutes. And you have Guardian Angels School, which we talked about yesterday as being a very well-rated school. And because you're north of the Union Gas Trail, you are probably going to Irma Colson if you go in the public school route. So I saw this one last night on Irving Terrace, and it's a 1,500 square foot home. It's called a Lynbrook model. It has a finished basement. I think the upstairs is a little bit better than the basement in terms of finishes, but it's still, the walls are there. It's straight walls, big windows, that kind of thing. What I noticed though, like this light in the kitchen, it's okay. It's a fan, but it's kind of like, I don't know, it's not modern or anything like that. So it's staged. You can tell that right away. There's 2 little nail or screw holes there. You know, the finishes, everything is sort of set up well. But then you go in the shower and you've got old grout. And so our advice to clients often is, you know, we'll get all the pieces. We have storage units with all, you know, beds and desks and art and everything else. We call it smart staging. So we're able to provide that. But here's the thing, like I want someone to come in. So oftentimes what we're asking clients to do now, clean your grout. There's a great company called Grout Masters, another one in Oakville called Grout Expectations. They're fantastic companies, and the life that's breathed into your home is amazing. We tell them to change door handles. These are brass doorknobs here, and so when you're seeing homes that are 4 or 5 years old, there's nothing brass. So it's like light fixtures, big deal. Getting good paint, that kind of thing is making a huge difference for people. And you have to have the stuff in the right places. You have to have nice, you know, decor and staging and everything else. But I just think it's that never-ending battle between substance and style. And not to say this one doesn't have substance. I'm just saying overall is that there's things that you can do as a homeowner. I just spoke with a guy selling a home in Waterloo, and I said, look, you have a choice for the money that you're going to take to invest to, you know, buy or rent furniture and everything else, probably $5,000 for a house, which includes the moving in and out and everything else. I said, you could paint this home. You could fix all the issues with it, clean the grout, change a few lights, and then you've now created a situation where this home is move-in ready. It is better than the builder left it on day one. And I think that is more appealing for more people than having a fancy couch that is going to disappear as soon as the buyers buy the house. But, it works both ways too. I've seen some homes with great furniture, not so good behind the furniture, and they've done well too. I just think the substance is always going to win long term. Now, if you have a keen eye, you're going to notice something about this one on Glebe Terrace. First of all, it's like 1,100 square feet, so it's small. Now, main floor, door, closet. Walk in, staircase, closet's right here, and you've got family room, which opens up to the kitchen, and it's got great furniture, it's great design, all the things that I talked about, light fixtures, and good furniture, and neutral paint, and everything else, and 3 bedrooms upstairs. Here it is, 1 washroom. Did you see washroom on the main floor? No, because there's no washroom on the main floor. If you're lazy and you don't want to go upstairs, you're going to have to open your back door and use washroom because there is nothing. So you are washroomless on the main floor because they just didn't have space. They said family room, kitchen, staircase, front hall, closet. There is a version of this home that has a main floor powder room, but you end up repositioning the closet so that it's right in the front area, and then you lose living space and so on. So when you're 1,100 square feet, it can be tricky to lay that stuff out. So that's probably the biggest downside here. $649 for a detached home is, I think, something that's attractive. Now, I saw this one on Newell when it was listed for $599, and it was a bit of a hot mess, to be honest. So there's like a missing window in the garage. There's cameras everywhere. It's kind of weird. But I know gadget people that like just to have that stuff around. The lights are all offset. You can't really see them, but there's all this kind of stuff here where you've got this sort of fancy finish here, and then the light goes over. And it's a nice open concept main floor. The trim here, there's another light, so it's up here, and then it moves over. It's the transition between lemon and lime is kind of interesting too. The borders upstairs have been painted very, like, not straight. It just keeps getting more interesting. It's hard to explain unless you've seen the home. This is all like wood trim that they built a basement with, and they even took some of the laminate floors and put it, I guess, vertically against the wall. And it is a fascinating one. I really think that someone's going to have to come in here and spend a lot of money to fix it up. It is a semi. It does have a finished basement. From that sense, the value's good, but the finishes are bizarre. This was one of those ones. I've seen 13,000 homes in my life, and I thought, wow. So there it is. Now, I look at this one on Beaty Trail, and people quote this a lot. They say $220,000 worth of recent upgrades. That is a lot of money, and you don't always get money for that. For example, street address looks great. Are you going to get the money for it? Hard to say. Landscaping, low return on investment, including the driveway, which costs a lot of money to do that pattern concrete. So the home is only about 1,900 square feet. And you could buy this home right now for probably low sevens, between $7 and $750. There's a few options for sale right now. You are not going to get this kitchen, right? There's a couple things in here that are obviously much better than what you find in the marketplace. That ensuite, but I look at that ensuite, I say, okay, great. So even the kitchen, call it 30 grand. That bathroom there, call it $15,000, even $20,000, $50,000. You slap some paint on it, do the whole house. And again, I'm quoting high numbers, $10,000 to paint the house. You do some of this reclaimed wood here. I just I'm having a hard time looking at this one and coming up with $220,000. I could see 100. I could see maybe 120, 150 tops. I don't know where that extra money is, and that's the other thing you got to be careful of is, okay, show me where that 220 is, because if I'm going to pay for that, then, but I would rather buy something at 7 to 750, do it the way I like it, and you know, and versus buying the finished product here. It's a very nice home. $899 is going to be a struggle because this one probably would have sold at 9 something back in the days. Things have shifted. So this one on Fox, they're holding back on offers. I like this floor plan. I really do. There's this kind of a 2-story room here. The photos suck. They're not good at all. And I understand why. Because when you take photos with a basic, not so good camera, or you don't use a good enough flash, what happens is the windows are kind of overexposed and the rest of it's underexposed. That's not an easy shot to take for an amateur, but a pro knows how to shoot that room properly. And just don't get how you can sell $1 million home and have these kind of pictures. It's a good floor plan though, and the woods in the back are phenomenal. They're fantastic. There's a walkout basement with the woods behind, and there was one recently that sold on Dixon that sold up in the 9s too. So I know the values here on this one. The presentation, not as much. Unfinished basement too, all brick. All right, so there we go. That's the list. If you have any questions, have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow with more Milton Daily Homes. Engine, number 9 on the New York Transit line. Just to wrap up what we talked about.
Fact. Engine, number 9 on the New York Transit line. If my train goes off the track, pick it up. Back on the scene, crispy and clean. You can try, but then why? 'Cause you can't